It is day 23 of my 30 days of decluttering in January challenge, and today I am tackling the utility room. So, here is our before. In particular, I want to tackle all the craft stuff up on that bookshelf there. And for like full disclosure, actually, this utility room is normally way more crammed. So, we have this clothes horse sits in there, the scooter's been in there recently, and then we also have not the tripod, but the dehumidifier and these bags were all in there, and I had to move them out just to have a little bit of space to do this declutter. Now, I have been meaning to do this for like, I feel like a week or more. Every day I'm like, I'm going to tackle the utility room, I'm going to tackle the utility room. And then I run out of time during the day. And it feels like, I don't know why, it just felt like too big a job to do in an evening. And it probably was. It is quite late at night that I'm doing this voiceover. So tonight though, I had to get it done. So it's been another busy day. During the day I wasn't able to carve out any time during the day, but then tomorrow is my non-working day where I'm off with my 2-year-old, and it would be way harder with her around. So it just felt like now or never. I've only got a couple more days of decluttering left for January, and then this particular challenge is over. And I feel like I've achieved so much this month and last month. I want to keep up the good work. I feel like with the utility, it's kind of more organization than it is decluttering. Like I did get a decent amount of decluttering done in a short space of time, but I definitely needed to like overhaul this cupboard, work out what was in there. And like I seriously had no idea what was in this cupboard. I knew some of it, and I had forgotten a bunch of stuff that was in there. So it was super useful for actually just like going through, taking a stock take. Like I would not have remembered that I'd put these paints in this cupboard. In fact, I had thought when I did the shed clear out, I was like, where is that peachy coloured paint? Because I wanted to do another coat in Daisy's room, and I didn't feel like I'd seen that paint. But I guess I was just like, well, it must have been in there. It must be with the other paints, right? Because the shed, at the back of shed, in the rack with paints, that's where all the paints live. But obviously, I'd stashed it in there thinking that I needed it to be more accessible in order to do a third coat of paint that I never got around to doing. So I'm going to move those paints into the shed. I'm trying very much with the decluttering and reorganization that I've been doing lately is always think like, would I look in this location for this item? And there were several things in this cupboard that I would not. Like I have been grouping the DIY stuff together. So I moved out a dust sheet and some other DIY things. I put them all together, and then I'm going to organize those into the tote boxes under the stairs, because we're going to have all of our DIY stuff together under the stairs, and then we're going to have all of the paints together in the shed. And then in this cupboard, basically in the back of it, I've put it back so I have the cake box and the cake stand and the like little high chair topper things. So if we have friends around with really young children, that is super handy. And when we eventually get rid of like the high chair itself, that'll be the only thing that we have. So those are at the back because they will be used less frequently. And then we have the stomp rockets. We have 3 stomp rockets, and like I'm sure we can get rid of some, but I also think if we take them out for the kids to use in some nicer weather, then they'll just get destroyed anyway, right? So that's my aim. I think used up and destroyed. That's my aim for a lot of things I'm putting in this cupboard. We've got a lot of craft kits, like it's just use them up time. Use them, enjoy them. These are not meant to be like kept forever kind of toys. So I'm going to clear up some space in that cupboard, like ASAP, because my 4-year-old turns 5 in April. And for the first year of school, like the reception year, everyone seems to have like a full class party. And we did this for my eldest. We are going to be doing this for my 4-year-old. So he's going to have a full class party. But that means like 30 plus kids each bringing a present. And the majority of them bring presents at that age. And like he'll love it. He'll absolutely love it. But I remember it from my eldest, and it is carnage, like that many items in your house all in one go. So I want to have the areas decluttered where I will be like putting things. I imagine there'll be things I want to put in that cupboard. So I need to clear space. I also need to go back and do another toy declutter, make sure we got some space there. So this cupboard above the fridge freezer, we have basically like art supplies, we have crayons, pencils, scissors for the kids, and we also randomly have our battery storage that is going to stay up there, like batteries. I think you cannot be too safe. They cannot be too high. And this is like the highest place basically for them. It's the little batteries that freak me out. And I feel like this, I've got a really good organizer. So this particular organizer is awesome. And they're stored in a great place. But I have a few packets like of loose batteries up there in the cupboard, so still safe, but I need to decant them into the organizer. So took the time to do that. So we also store our used batteries in there. So when the batteries have come to the end of their life, we have another little plastic container. We put them in there. And then there are various locations in our local town where we can take batteries to be recycled. So I also want to go through like all the paints in this cupboard, just check like are they all still usable? None of them have dried up because it has been a while since we've done any painting. I find painting with the kids quite stressful. So we do have a table covering now and we have like overalls for them all to wear, but I think their age is like 6, 4, and 2, and they are all very high energy kids. Like they're not very good at listening to instructions, they're not very good at sitting still, and it is like quite a stressful activity basically when you want to make sure that they're not going to put paint covered hands on walls and not going to get paint on their faces and their hair. And I definitely the younger ones will like actively paint body parts rather than putting paint on paper. They would just be like, I'm going to paint my hands, I'm going to paint my face. And before you know it, you're just mopping up paint everywhere and trying desperately not to have it spread throughout the house. Anyway, that's me. So I think I'm going to try and encourage some painting outside in the summer. That is my plan. Like, I'd love to have some big easels or like one big easel that they can share, but I really don't have space for that. So I've got some massive rolls of paper, so I'm just going to roll that out like across the grass in the summer and let them do some outside painting. That is my plan because I do want them to enjoy these activities, and they do them like at school and nursery and preschool. They're doing painting and like, well, certainly at nursery, I feel like that's a daily activity is getting paints out, and my kids come back from school and nursery like covered in paints and pens regularly. So I know that they're doing those activities, but like I love those activities. I loved them as a kid. And I definitely remember it was much more of a preschool activity, like doing painting or something we didn't do in the house as much until we were a bit older and actually could be trusted to sit like nicely and paint. And as I say, my kids are definitely not at that point now. I feel like the boys that they might sit for a little while and paint things. Like at Christmas, we did do some painting, like of ornaments and stuff, and they did sit nicely for a while. So, but with the influence of the 2-year-old, it all just goes a bit crazy, crazy and feral. Well, we have lots of art supplies. There were a few that were dried up, but otherwise, I'm not getting rid of stuff just for the sake of getting rid of it. I intend to try to use up some of this stuff. So we've got a lot of paints in there that I got from IKEA. I really recommend them for like the poster paints for kids. They do some really good sets. And then we have some pencils in here. We got rid of loads of crayons when we did our initial declutter, and they all went to nursery, who were very grateful for them. So I'm just checking our paint sticks. We have been using these up recently. Like we've been getting some big, like giant cardboard boxes with the additional like storage units that we've been making up to better organize like the kids' toys, etc. And I've just basically broken down the cardboard boxes. They're like massive cardboard boxes, take up a lot of space, and then given the kids these paint pens and they can just draw all over them. So that was really good fun. I feel like even though that does create a little bit of mess, it is more contained than full on like paints and paintbrushes, which is no, not containable at the moment. I always thought I'd be like that mum that did more messy play activities, and we do them, but we definitely don't do as many as I thought I would be prepared for. Like I'm not prepared for them. But like every day is a messy day activity. Like feeding my kids, that's a messy play activity in their books, apparently, smearing of food everywhere. But I know also that they will get bigger so fast and then they will not be wanting to do any of these things. So I try and embrace it as much as possible. So time to start packing things away now, but I managed to completely forget where I positioned the crayons and you stepped straight into them. And actually this is just a foil container, right? But it's the perfect size for the paint pens and the pencils. And so I was kind of annoyed there because I have bent it like totally out of place and had a little go at bending it back, and it was just, yeah, it's too late. Just put it back in the cupboard and try and watch where I'm putting my massive feet. So as I say, we have a few things here that I basically want to rehome. So like there's a kite behind me, and I have another kite which is behind our shoe rack. Another thing I want to use up this year, and I have said in previous videos that we are starting to manage things a bit more and do things more. I have a laminator here, which is brand new. So in its box, never been taken out of its box, and it's between 4 or 5 years old. And I have a lot of guilt around this. I mean, it probably only costs about £30, not masses at the end of the day, but anyway, I'm going to gift it on. Let's have a look at what it is like now. And that particular shelf is looking so much better. As I say, this tray up here, that's got stuff that I'm gifting on, that is going. And then under here, we have all the craft stuff, all organized. So yeah, it is looking loads better. This cupboard up here is looking great. Everything is organized. I feel like things aren't going to fall on me now when I need to get like crayons out or whatever. And in a short space of time, it's about half an hour, I've got it looking way better and got rid of a decent amount of stuff. I will see you in the next one. Bye.